Open the goddamn door, Tori. Come on, I ain't gonna hurt you.
Stay right there. Sit down on that bench.
All right. I thought you hated that old rifle there.
I do.
I run into the Dunlops in Montrose, and
I know. Millie told me you were coming.
so you're not surprised to see me then.
Only surprised it took you so long to show up.
Yeah, I reckon I couldn't decide what to do. I always tell myself I wouldn't come back here, but I guess it came back for more than just money. I've been needing to tell you some things. I wasn't the one who killed that boy.
Well, you would say that, wouldn't you? Coming here to get money from me. You'd say anything.
No, Tori, really?
Come on, Seth. Why are you here?
I don't know. I guess to get me that money, I suppose. But now that I'm here, I want the land, too.
Well, I'll be out by summer. If you come near me again, I'm going to pour gasoline all over this place and burn it to the ground.
Not the orchard.
Oh, I'll start with the orchard. Don't doubt me, Seth. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Now get the hell off my porch!
Hi, everybody. I'm Joe.
And I'm Mary.
And we're Book Buds.
Today, Joe is going to tell us all about Go as a River by Shelley Reed.
So we didn't talk too much about this book, you and I,
No, it
right?
was like, I was like, what are you reading these days? And you're like, oh, I just read this. Done.
Yeah. All right, so this was recommended to me by a friend, and it came highly recommended. So, I was like, well, let me give it a try. Oof. Now, this is a 5-star read from me, and there are some 5 stars, right? But then there are some 5 stars.
Oh.
And like this
is one of those?
This is like a Crawdads. It's like one of those books that like lingers, and like I have a prediction that this is a debut novel. It just came out.
Oh.
I think that this is going to be very popular coming up. I think it's going to take off. I really think it's going to become one of those books.
So I should read this.
Well, I'm about to like really go into it though.
Well, maybe I won't then.
I mean, I think
I like to go in blind, so these things like kind of ruin it for me. But.
Yeah.
Are you gonna spoil it?
So there are some spoilers because there is so much that happens in this book.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna leave out the major one at the end. But I'm gonna do some spoiling.
Okay, so prepare yourself for that, folks.
Yeah, I'll warn you.
Okay. What's it about?
Okay, so this is a book. It takes place in Colorado in like the late 1940s, 1950s. Okay, and this is about a girl named Tori, and she lives with her brother, who is not a good person, and her father, and I think an uncle. Her mother died.
Okay.
So she's left alone, and they have like a peach tree orchard. And there's like a lot of farming that goes on, and a lot of care that has to go into the land. But Tori, like her job is just like, and she's young. She's like in her teen years. She has to like clean the house and cook. And when the men come home from working all day, she's got to have the food ready and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So, it's not a great, fun existence. Oh gosh, I'm like, where do I go? Where do I go from here? So there's a few things. She meets a boy. Okay. And kind of, they get together. They fall in love. And have like a relationship. But it has to be kept secret because he is Native American.
Oh.
Okay. And the locals don't like him and want him out of there. And, they use all these racial slurs or whatever. And her brother, Tori's brother, is like a big offender of that. So he like hates him. And he's like, oh, did you see that so-and-so? We got to find him and get him out of here. And all the while, like, she's having, like, a relationship with this guy.
Wow, that's terrible.
Yeah. So, like, every time, like, I decided what this book was about, it, like, had another layer laid on top. And then another layer. So, like, okay, so we have that layer. It's like, racism, right? Towards Native Americans back in the day. Okay, then we have like another layer, and I'm gonna skip around a little bit, but there's this woman who's like an outcast in the town. So like she's walking around, just picture, she's walking around and she doesn't look too clean, and she's kind of saying crazy things that nobody understands, and like for some reason she's just an outcast, and like the adults in the town are just shunning her just because. And then unfortunately their children, all the kids, are kind of imitating their parents and like throw rocks at her and like just like make fun of her and like say bad things, whatever. So she's really on the outskirts of civilization. You know, she has nobody really. She has such an important like role in this book. So I guess I could say that we're kind of going to get into spoilers now.
Yeah. I feel like it's happening.
It's happening. It's coming. So now you have like this outcast situation, right? So she winds up kind of like hiding their relationship.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like helping them out.
Like helping them out. And the boy's name is Will. So I think she kind of like hides him a little bit, and like there's something like that goes on, and then like they're together in her dwelling, you know, and like so like she's awesome. Like, you know, she turns out to be like an ally for this girl. So spoiling, there's more. So okay, I like the way this author wrote this book. I have a lot of thoughts on this book. She often let us know what was happening or what was going to happen, like major things, before it happened. So at first when the author kept doing this, I was a little bit like surprised, like, oh my God, like that happens? But it didn't happen yet. So like at the end of the chapter, the last line will be like, oh, you know, well, let me tell you the next spoiler before I ruin it. Tori's brother and his friends find Will and kill him.
Ugh.
They tie him
I'm not reading this.
to the back of their vehicle and they like speed off. And it's a horrible thing that happens in the book. So you know, this girl's mother dies, and now like she finally found a connection with this guy, and like they murder him. They murder him. So at one point in the book, like she references like the last time she's going to see Will, like before we even know that that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, oh my God, like what happens? They just got together, like what? So like the author did that a few times, and at first I was like, oh, I don't like this, but then I was like, it has an interesting effect. Like it lets you know where the story's going. It makes you want to read more, and you're almost like watching from above. I can't explain it.
Yeah.
How would you feel about that?
Instead of being like assaulted by it happening, you're kind of like you're braced for it, you know?
Yeah.
So that might be good for me, being that I'm so emotional when I read.
Well, I think it could prolong the emotional reaction too, because at first you're like, what? And then like it happens in the book, and then you have to go through it that way. So it's like,
so you can have like a longer, slower agony instead of like a immediate trauma kind of thing.
Right.
Right?
Yeah,
that's
true.
Which might be better.
That's true. So I thought it was interesting, and sometimes she did that, and then that was it. She didn't go into it when it actually occurred in the story, and I thought that was interesting as well. So I just thought that this was really well thought out, well written, different from anything I've ever read.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Did you read this pretty quickly?
Unfortunately, I did not read it as quickly as I wanted to, because life is crazy right now. So no, but I would have if I could have.
Yeah.
Oof, it would have been done in like 2 days.
Yeah. Okay.
Instead, it was like 2 weeks.
Yeah. But sometimes when you have a slowdown, you don't maintain interest in a book. I've noticed that with you. So the fact that you kept going back to this and were this happy with it while having a slowdown because of life really speaks to it being a good book.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah.
And I also found myself, you know, I don't like long books at all, but this one I almost felt a little like she could have gone more. This is 305.
That's short.
So the content in here, like I wanted more of certain moments because it was just so good. And yes, it was impactful, like how she did it. You know, if she didn't give us more, there was a reason, and I get it. But like, I just wanted more. I could have had 100 more pages and been like so happy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good book.
It is, but I'm not done yet, Mary.
Oh.
So
I'm like ready to wrap up.
No, you can't wrap up. I have to get deep into this. So there was one other book where I did that. I had quotes. So okay. So her mother dies.
Okay.
Her mother wasn't like a caring mother. So like there already was that for this poor girl. These lines here, I'm just gonna read some. It's just like brings you into her existence. She says, I doubt that mother would have helped me had she been alive, but the one benefit of having a dead mother is the ability to turn her into an unwavering ally, whether she would have been one or not. Whoa. Like, even still, like, I've digested that, but that just, like, reverberates within me. Like, she didn't have a caring mother. It took her mother's death to have this poor girl. I guess it's like, it could be like a psychological defense, right? Like, she tricked her mind into having a mother who, like, would have been on her side.
Right.
She's with all these men who, like, really don't treat her well.
She needed somebody on her side, so even a false dead mother, what she had to go to.
Do you feel that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
Very
God.
alone. Wow.
Like, jeez. That was just crazy. Okay, so, like, that was just, like, an example of this author's skill. Like, wow, that just got me, and I still can't even get over it. Okay, so I'm going to go into more of the plot line. So, surprise, surprise, she's pregnant.
Oh.
Obviously.
Oh.
Yeah, she's pregnant. So now she realizes that in order to save this baby...
Wait, whoa, you can't shake the microphone.
These don't even work. Come on.
Maybe they do.
Maybe.
Okay, sorry.
So she realizes that to, like, save her baby, like, she has to get out of there.
Yeah.
So she flees, okay, and she writes a letter to her father. And this was, like, another one of those moments where it just kind of, like, stuck with me. She signed, like, a letter. She wrote a letter to her father, you know, don't come looking for me. Like, I have something I got to take care of. I'll be back. She signs it Victoria, right? So thus far in the book, we know her as Tori, but she decided to sign it Victoria. Now, instead of trying to do from memory, I mean, I have it right here. So she signs it Victoria instead. And she said, I hoped my signature would imply that I had matured outside his notice. It occurred to me that it was Tori who lacked the wherewithal to rise and move forward, but Victoria had a woman's strength to go on. So again, like, you know, Tori is the little kid who prepares the meals and is kind of like, you know, the servant of the household. But now she had this relationship and she had all that huge loss with that relationship. And now she's pregnant. So now, like, she's trying to, like, show that to her father. Like, I'm Victoria now. Like, I'm a woman who has, you know, strength, and I have to do what I have to do for my kid.
I'm much more than just Tori. You like this a lot.
I love
He's
this.
He's like looking at me. Can you see this look he's giving me? Like, when it's dead on, it's like...
I'm, like, really into this book. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that happens. Okay, one more, like, thing, and this is another spoiler, but I'm not gonna do the big spoiler for the end. So the peach tree. So okay, so a lot of stuff happens, obviously. She has the baby, and then she gives the baby away because she knows that it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So she finds a family who's, like, on a picnic in the woods, and she leaves the baby in their car.
Oh.
To sacrifice. She sacrifices her motherhood, and she gives up her kid because she knows. Sad. Yeah, and that couple had, like, a little child with them, so, like, she's like, okay, this is what to do. So Tori just knows that she's got to get out of Colorado because all this stuff happens. As you saw in our scene, her brother returns, and that's not a good situation because he's just terrible. So what does she do? So she decides that she's going to transplant all of her peach trees because, like, they're very, like, important to her. They were in the family for, like, a long time, and a lot of care went into them. So she wants to leave, but she's taking those peach trees with her.
Okay.
So, you know, in whatever farming peach tree world, like, she knows people, and they're going to do this one tree at a time.
Wow.
So it's so, like, symbolic because she's not only, like, moving the peach trees, but, like, she's uprooting herself and settling down in another, like, starting new. Rebirth. So much symbolism. So beautiful. Such a beautiful book. It's poetical, if you will.
Joe's in love with this book.
It's really good. And the ending is great. We find out what happens with her boy, with her baby, and in a really cool way.
Oh, so it's a good spoiler ending. Okay, good.
Like, yeah, it's...
I was thinking, like, oh my God, they're all going to be dead.
No, it really wraps up nicely.
Good wrapping up, okay.
And, like, the way that it happens, I won't talk about that because I talked about a lot. So if you want to read this and you've watched this far, like, I'm going to leave that for you. It is just such a powerful book. I wish Mary would read it. Maybe you'll read it in the future. Maybe you'll put it on your list and you'll forget this video and, you know, just read it for what it is. But I just can't rave enough about this. This is my gushing video.
It's awesome. Awesome, awesome. So you said this is like new and not a lot out there about it. So is there anybody else out there that's read it? I'm curious. Did you love it as much as Joe?
Oh, I'd love to hear from you.
It'll be interesting to see what else this author brings out too.
Yeah, can't wait to see what's next for her.
It's so exciting to find a new author like that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, if you're enjoying Book Buds, give us a thumbs up.
And share us with your friends.
And subscribe to our channel, Book Buds!
Golly gee, that sounded like a great book.
Book Buds! Almost at 500. Don't leave us.
Took you so long to show up.
Damn, that's cutting. That cut me right down.
What do you really want?
No, Tori, really. Sorry.
I screwed it all up.
You totally said something. Now that It's a good song. You're really getting into this gun.
I'm trying to put it back where it was. Now get the hell off my porch!
So good. You're shaking and everything. That was great.